Oh yeah.
Hello, Metro Augusta. Hello, Georgia, and hello, wherever you are. This is Janice Allen Jackson welcoming you to the August 21st edition of Local Matters, a show designed to make you a more confident voter and a more engaged citizen. As always, today's show is brought to you as a service of my consulting firm, and that is Janice Allen Jackson and Associates, where we proudly provide services to local government and nonprofit organizations. You can learn more about me and the firm by going to our website, which is janiceallenjackson.weebly.com. We also encourage you to subscribe to our YouTube channel as well as follow our Facebook page if you are on that platform. When you follow and subscribe, that lets us know that you support our efforts. And it also helps make sure that you are notified when we post new episodes and information. If you missed our episode last week, I encourage you to please go back and listen. That episode is on our YouTube channel as well as our normal outlets, which are, of course, SoundCloud, Spotify, and Apple Podcast. Our guest was Dallas Frazier, and he talked about some of the changes happening in the communications industry. Specifically, we talked about the evolution of radio, what it means to be a streaming station, and how all of this has impacted how we consume information and sometimes what we consume. So please go back and check that one out. Today, we are favored with a visit from not one, but two guests, and they are from the League of Women Voters of the CSRA. You may recall, if you're a regular listener, that about once a year we have somebody from the League of Women Voters come in. So this year we couldn't make an exception. So we're so glad to have them on with us today. Local Matters family, we are joined today by not just one, but two guests. They are with the League of Women Voters of the Central Savannah River area. If you are in the Augusta, Georgia metro area, you know what that term means. If you're not, I think this episode is still very interesting to you because the League of Women Voters works throughout this country. Our two guests are the co-presidents of the CSRA organization. They are Renthia Richardson and Gayla Keesee. I am going to allow them to introduce themselves first, and then we'll get into a few questions about their organization. How are you doing today?
We're doing fine,
We're
doing
great.
fine. Thank you for having us.
Thank you for being a guest on Local Matters. We'll start first with Ms. Richardson. Can you tell us a few things about yourself that you'd like our listeners to know?
Okay, well, I was born in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and but I grew up here in Augusta, Georgia, on the South Side. So I went to Glen Hills High School, and then I attended college throughout, Georgia, and then I entered the military, in which now I currently am a equal employment opportunity manager for the Corps of Engineers out of Albuquerque, New Mexico. But I am remote worker, so I reside right here in Augusta, Georgia, and work via remotely. So, how I got involved with the League of Women Voters is actually Miss Gayla Keesee had put out a movie. So we went to, it was like dinner and a movie, but we were talking about political matters. We went to see the movie Mercy. Um, and then after that, we went to dinner. And uh, from the first meeting, I saw that this organization was the one that I wanted to be a part of. We actually got that night, I got to meet one of the elected who actually became the district attorney, Jared. And he was able to give us his platform. And I could see that the League of Women Voters was very active in our community. And that encouraged me to want to be a member. So currently, I'm the co-president with Gayla, And I'm also the grants manager for the League of Women Georgia. So I'm pretty heavily involved with the league. So, and that's me. So thank you.
Thank you for that, Renthia. And Gayla,
Mhm.
tell us a little more about you.
Oh, wow. Yeah. And I'm so glad that I got Renthia involved. Um, from 2015, I have, when the League of Women Voters of the CSRA reconstituted as the league that serves the CSRA as opposed to serving just the Augusta area, I have been involved with the league as communications and voter services chair until I took a hiatus while I had a full-time job right after the 2020 election, but am back in as doing that same type of thing because, once again, the League of Women Voters works to empower voters and to make democracy work. And this election, we've got to make democracy work. And so I have been involved with the league both at the state level, just like Renthia. I was voter services and communications chair then, and then was also serving with the league here. And we're back doing voter services and working with partners. One of the things that I did in the 2020 election, because I feel that we work better in conjunction with other people, with organizations that are like-minded, that believe in democracy, that believe that in grassroots initiatives, and that the strength is in working together. And we put together the CSRA Good Trouble Coalition in 2020. And those people and those organizations have a like-minded attitude towards democracy. And we work together with them, and that strengthens our numbers. And we're working very hard to get out the vote and to empower voters to know more about our election process and not just take what's on Facebook or what's on Instagram or what they hear on the from their friends and family. It's to make critical thinking an important part of the voting process.
And at the heart of it, is that the reason that the League of Women Voters exists?
So I would say that we exist correctly to make democracy work. And with us, I always say I define this organization just with one of the words that Gayla used. She said grassroots. We are on the ground. We're activists, so we're out making things happen, and giving the information that the voters need. Voters deserve to have accurate information, up to date information, and that's part of what we do now. The other thing that we like to say is we're not your grandmother's organization, because we've got younger people in our organization that are making things happen. They want to make sure that their voice is heard, and we support that. And they're teaching us things. So teaching us. I'm learning Instagram and and things like that. So we're actually those partnerships with the youth in our community, with the leadership in our community. We've gotten great support from our mayor, who just attended our annual meeting this past June, and the community commissioners. One of them also attended. That we appreciate their support as well. But again, we're nonpartisan, we're grassroots, and we're activists. Those are the three things that I say that I associate with our organization. We began 6 months before the 19th Amendment was ratified, and we're a part of an experimental program to get 20 million women to make sure that they could understand their new responsibilities when it came to voting. But besides that, we now the organization, we have membership from males, females, and the youth. So we have a diverse population, and that's what we're moving towards. Diversity, equity, and inclusion is a part of our organization. So, and I'll talk about that a little later when it comes to membership and funding. So,
Okay. Thank you. So you have male members. I didn't know that. That was since
1970s.
when? Since the 70s, really?
Yes.
I did not know that. So even though you're called a League of Women Voters, there are others that participate as well.
Well, we decided to keep that name because that was the reason that the league was formed in the beginning, was for the fight for women's suffrage. And so people knew that concept. And over the years, we've expanded that to be inclusive of all and really fighting for those that have been on the margin, those that have been marginalized, and fighting for their voting rights as much, because really the 19th Amendment gave white women the right to vote.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that the league recognized in 2020 when we celebrated our 100th anniversary, was that the league's not always been on the right side of things. And we are working really hard to make sure that we are inclusive and that we fight for the rights of all.
Awesome. So, so men can join. Is there a restriction really on anybody? Can anybody join the League of Women Voters?
yes. So we're not restricted to men. Whatever pronoun you are, you can join. Now, as far as youth, you have to be 16 years and older in order to join the League of Women Voters. And if one joins our organization, the only expectation is that we have a membership. We just started with the chapter spot. That's the platform that we're going to be using during 2025 for membership. It's a tier. It can be a tier platform so that you can join. We used to have it where you have family members join, but now you can join through the tier process. But what it really means is that us using it allows family members or members of any race to join without that financial stigmatism. Before it was like our dues were set at $75. And that is the hope, is that we can do $75 annually per person to join. But if funding is an issue to you being a member, then the chapter spots allows us to let you join with however much you can afford to pay at that time, with our minimum being $20. So that's where we are, and that doesn't come online until they're still working out the kinks in that platform, but it's expected to come online in January of 2025.
One of the things you said,
Yeah.
Janice, was, can anyone join? You can't join if you don't subscribe to our principles and our values.
Right.
I mean, that's what we say, is if you subscribe to those values and those core principles and believe that democracy is for all, then you are free to join.
All right. And once you do join, what's expected? You know, like some organizations, they require X amount of meeting attendance, X amount of service activities, you know, chairing a committee, being on a committee, what are those types of things? What would somebody be expected to do if they're a full participating member of the League of Women Voters of the CSRA?
So we have several committees, starting with our advocacy committee, communications, membership committee, the voter services, which includes voter education, candidate forums, voter outreach, the advocacy is like healthcare, gun safety, reproductive justice, and communications, getting our word out or newsletters, and then the different social platforms that we use. We also have events and training, such as we have the book club, and we're participating in different other different programs. So keeping our calendar. So it was various committees, and the member once joined would just have to make a determination. They would have to determine how involved they would like to be. Because you can join or be on one or two committees, or you could be on, just a volunteer basis. Like you wish to go out and support, like we supported the book drive at Good Shepherd this past weekend. And we had some people who wanted to see what the league was about, and they came out and supported that. So we have various options.
You all mentioned earlier about you can join as long as you believe in the values of the organization. Can you all speak a little bit more about the core beliefs and values of the League of Women Voters?
Well, I mean, one of the core instances is that we are nonpartisan. Nonpartisan means that we neither support candidates nor political parties. We are really an issue-based organization. In fact, we have impacts statements that set up what we believe. And it's a nice little book about this big that we have voted on at our conventions on a national level, that these are what we believe in. And that, just like what Renthia said, it has to do with reproductive rights, has to do with voting, has to do with transportation, has to do with health care. All of those are issues that people deal with and voters vote on. So we are very much issue-based. We believe that grassroots initiatives are the strength of our organization. And we believe that the principles of good governance, that rule of law that we are looking at. And we also believe that it is important to act, not just to respond and to prepare for whatever is going to happen. We also believe that citizenship requires knowledge and the ability and the will to act. Just like what you were saying, is they can join the league and they can just be a member, and that supports us financially. But the best thing to do when you're a member of the league is to be active, to be out there, to become that good trouble, to make good trouble, that necessary trouble that we feel that we need to do. And we feel that the responsibility of good government rests on the citizens' shoulders, that we should hold our government accountable, and we should be involved in that, and that the rights of citizens at home and abroad is interdependent, that we're looking at it from a global scale. And those are some of those core values.
Great, thank you for that. So that makes me think, do they have to sign, when they sign up, do they have to sign something that says that's what they believe in? How do you know if that's, if they really are in favor of good governance and democracy and grassroots efforts and nonpartisanship?
I honestly feel that if you're going to join and you're going to spend the money and you're going to be involved, then, I mean, we don't have you sign any kind of form or commitment or anything like that, other than your check when you pay your dues.
And I'll have to check, but I believe it made something about, well, I think our main one being nonpartisan in our activities is on a part of that application process. But I think that's the primary thing. And they do sign that application, that membership application, whether it's online or on the paper copy. So I would say that. But if they want to be a part of a program that wants to improve the election process and want to make sure that they're protecting our democracy, then we're that organization. So, I mean, there are no other organizations that have the history that the League of Women Voters does. And again, we've been doing this for over 100 years. So I would say this is 104th year. So we've got the mold, we've got the program, and we're very active in our community, which is a plus for me because after 21 years of being a federal employee, serving in the military, I wasn't at home. And so I wasn't able to get into my community and see it grow. And now I'm back home and I'm able to do that and support and partner with other organizations to do that. So I feel real good about that.
Awesome. Awesome. In terms of upcoming events, if there's somebody who is interested, a few weeks ago, somebody that I know reached out to me and said, "Hey, I want to get involved in the community. What can I do?" And I said, "Well, are you looking to work on a campaign? Or are you looking for something that's more just generic toward promoting the interest of voters and voter education?" And she said the latter. I said, "Well, you may want to check out the League of Women Voters." So I know you all had a few events in July already. Do you have any more upcoming events that you want people to know about?
We're in election season, so definitely. In August, one of the things that we will be celebrating is Women's Equality Day. That is the day that the 19th Amendment was officially ratified. That's August 26th. We're looking at on August 25th because it's much easier to do things on the weekend. And we're looking at doing we're calling it Votes and Petticoats. And it is a fashion show. And it is vintage. It's a fashion show of suffrage fashions, because what people don't understand is fashion and color were important in the suffrage movement. And I'm not going to tell you any more than that because I want you to come to the event. But we're partnering with Melanie Caballero, and she has designed about 18 different outfits. And so we will talk about that on the 25th. And right now, the venue is in process. So make sure that you follow us on Facebook and follow us on Instagram to learn more about that one. That's August. Now, in September, that is voter registration month. That is the month before, you have 30 days before the election, and then that's the deadline to register to vote. So the big push is in September, and we're partnering with a number of those organizations, such as Delta Sigma Theta and Alpha Kappa Alpha, and the Divine Nine, but we're also partnering with the People's Agenda. We're partnering with Georgia Shift. We're partnering with a variety of organizations. So you'll see a lot of activity in September. We will be at Augusta Tech and at Augusta University on September 17th. Ironically, that is Constitution Day as well as National Voter Registration Day. So we will be participating in those activities. We will also have going into the schools and trying to and registering youth for that way. In October, we're really doing voter education. Now, the October 7th is the last day to register to vote. So we'll have a big voter registration drive October 7th. But then we will be doing vote early activities. And we hope to do voter registration on the 7th. On the 8th, we will be pushing Get to Know Your Ballot. And we'll be doing social media campaigns as well as a variety of activities in the surrounding area. On the 7th, we will talk about Make a Plan to Vote. And so we'll be talking the different ways that you can vote, absentee, in person, and early voting, and then on election day, and then understanding the process. One of the things that we want to talk about during that time, we're looking at doing a film screening of Suppressed and Sabotaged, which is an updated version of Suppressed that we screened in 2020. And it's talking about what has happened across the United States in the last 4 years, that all the efforts to suppress the vote. And so then we'll have a panel discussion with that. And we're also going to do, one of the things that we have found is that when you try to get out the vote and talk to people, they listen to their friends and their family. So we're going to do a friends and family textathon and invite them to, what is your plan? What are you planning on doing? How do you plan on doing it? Do you have your ID? All of those things. And so those are the things that we're doing in September and October, getting ready for this election.
So
I'll also add that we have listed on our calendar that poll worker training. Yes. So poll worker training starts the 1st of August. And so we're going to be doing something in support of that, as well as we have a book club meeting that will be happening in August. Is the 24th of August. And the book is Prequel by Rachel Maddow. And that's at 10:30 at Bueno Cafe.
Our monthly book discussions, they're designed to talk about issues. The next one we'll be doing will be in, they're the 4th Saturday at 10:30 at Bueno Coffee, over on the one that is on Reynolds Street, not the one that's on Central Avenue.
So that clarification, because I automatically thought about Central Avenue. So
exactly,
really
that's the reason I thought,
at the Cyber Center. Okay.
It's just down the road from the Augusta Museum. So right where they're doing all that construction. And so that's something that we are doing.
I'm sorry. The Reynolds Street. Now they have a location in the Cyber Center, right?
They have one in the Cyber Center, they have one on Central Avenue, and then they have the one on Reynolds Street. 520 Reynolds Street.
Got it.
Is what it is. Yeah. So we're not all work. We like to play. So we also do things. We had Democracy Happy Hour, which did that. We have an equality in March, because one of the little known facts is the suffrage movement actually started at a tea party where they got together and they were talking. So tea has been an important part of the suffrage movement. They used to have fundraisers that were teas, and brought in women and had discussions about the women's rights movement.
Very good. And how often do you all meet, and where you meet for your regular meetings?
Our regular meeting is the 3rd Monday at 7:00 at Advent Lutheran Church on Washington Road. That is right across from California Dreaming. And we meet we won't meet in December because we have fun time in December. But we meet every month.
Very good. And are there any other misconceptions? You've cleared up a couple. One is that anyone can join. You don't have to be a woman. And the other is that it really is a nonpartisan organization. You don't support or endorse candidates. You're just there to get people interested in voting and democracy. Is there anything else that you want to clarify for our listeners about what the League of Women Voters really is, what you do and what you don't do?
Well, one of the things that from at the national level, we have a set of priorities. And one of the new initiatives is to get rid of the Electoral College, and push ranked choice voting to make it fairer So that's one of them. The other one is we were heavily involved in the census, but because that is a part of redistricting and gerrymandering and what we see happening. So we're working really much on fair districts because, I mean, even now, because the state of Georgia, even though in 2020, after the census, they can go in and change those districts at will. They're not tied to them, and they have done that. They have gerrymandered several people out of their district because they didn't fit what they wanted to have happen at the legislative level. So we monitor that. So, and we are looking at not only national, not only state, but we look at issues here. Like one of the things that Mayor Garnett Johnson is talking about is looking at our system of government here in Augusta. And so we're going to be following that closely. We have an observer corps that attends council meetings, commission meetings, that attends Board of Elections meetings and report back to us and report back to the state to see if there are trends that are happening that we want to follow and be ahead of. For example, AI is an important, and that's going to make a big difference in this election. Well, Columbia County Board of Elections has voted to use a system based on AI to do their voter rolls, to double check their voter rolls. So we're watching that to find out whether that is going to work or not. One of our initiatives is misinformation and disinformation. We will be doing a lot on how do you do critical thinking, how do you look at the news, and how do you evaluate the information that you're giving as well as receiving. And so these are some of the things we're looking at locally. And transportation is a big one. One of the things that we saw a poll, a survey said, what are the barriers to voting? The number one was transportation, was being able to get to the polls. So our transportation, and in Augusta, at least we have the Augusta Transit System. Burke County doesn't have it. Columbia County doesn't have it. These other counties don't even have the one that we have. So they have even more difficulty getting to the polls.
If people want to know more, I think you made reference to your social media, but if you could one more time, give us those handles so people can go straight to your social media pages and learn more.
Our Facebook page is the League of Women Voters of the CSRA. And then we are on Instagram at LWVCSRA. We're looking to do TikTok. So you might look at us there. We're on Threads. And so that's tied to Instagram. So that one's easy. It's LWVCSRA. But if they want to contact us via email, that is csra.lwv@gmail.com.
Thank you so much, Co-President Gayla and Co-President Renthia. Did you have anything else you want to share before we close out, Renthia?
One of the things that we're also looking at, local and statewide, are incarcerated people, making sure that they know what their rights are as far as voting is concerned and their eligibility to vote. So that is something that we definitely make sure that everyone has the knowledge, accurate information, up-to-date information.
Yeah, because in some states, like in Florida, in other states, if you are a convicted felon, you can't vote. Well, here in Georgia, luckily, if you have served your sentence, and you're off papers is what we say, if you've served your sentence, you've paid all your fines, you can immediately register to vote. You don't have to get permission. You don't have to send a letter or any of that. You can register to vote. And I was at a recent voter registration event, and the young man thought that he could never vote. And he was so excited when he found out, because he was off papers and he could do that.
Thank you all so much for everything that you all are doing to ensure democracy and civic participation here in the CSRA. And I think there is also a statewide league as well as national, correct?
When you join,
Okay.
you join at the chapter level, the state level, and the national level. Those dues go to all three levels.
Very good. Well, thanks so much for everything that you're doing. And now, of course, that you have been on the Local Matters podcast of Georgia, you are part of the family. So welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.